do you think it'll all fit on the magic carpet with us? I've got us a chair, and I've got your favorite raft, and I've got this bag, and inside of it's got snacks and water and sunscreen and some books for us to read, and I've got my sun hat just in case it's really sunny where we're going. Oh, and welcome, boys and girls, to another of Cosette's Enchanted Journeys. You just caught Cosette and I packing and preparing for a vacation. We love to go on vacation. Do you enjoy it? We've got a special story today all about some bears and their vacation where things went awry. Are you ready to go and check it out with us? All right, you know what to do. I'm gonna set our chair down. I'm gonna rub my hands together. Say it with me now. I wish to go on an enchanted journey, and away we go. And welcome, boys and girls, to another Enchanted Story Time. Today I have for us another Berenstain Bear book. This one is called Too Much Vacation. Is there even such a thing? Do you know these authors, Stan and Jan Berenstain? Let's see what their bears are up to, shall we? Well, that's everything, said Mama Bear, as she and Sister and Brother Bear held the car trunk lid so that Papa Bear could tie it down. Not quite, said Papa, running back into the treehouse. We almost forgot the camera, he said when he reappeared. What good is a wonderful vacation without photographs to remember it by? Good thinking, Papa, said Brother. May I take some pictures when we get there? And how about me? Sister wanted to know. Of course you may, said Papa as they bundled into the car. We're all going to take pictures of the most wonderful vacation the Bear family has ever had. All right now, everybody buckle up and we'll be on our way. 4 safety belts clicked into place, and they left their safe, comfortable treehouse and headed for the excitement and adventure of a vacation high up in the wilds of the Great Grizzly Mountains. It had been Papa's idea to take their vacation in the Great Grizzlies. It'll be a real wilderness experience. We'll live off the land. We're getting too soft here in the valley with all our supermarkets and other conveniences. When he saw the ad in the newspaper, there was no holding him. It said, "Try a wilderness vacation, a lovely mountain cabin complete with a rowboat by beautiful Crystal Lake." Ah, said Papa, painting beautiful word pictures, to wake with the rising sun and catch our breakfast from a clear mountain lake, to bathe in its sparkling water, to snack on delicious wild berries as we tramp the mountain trails, to gaze at the beauty of a mountain sunset, then to sleep through the peace and quiet of a mountain night, far from the noise of traffic and neighbors' barking dogs. It all sounded great to the cubs. "What kind of fish will we catch, Papa?" asked Brother. "Trout, no doubt," he answered with supreme confidence. But Mama wasn't so sure he would catch anything. So when she packed, she took along some canned goods in case the trout weren't biting, and some books and games in case of a rainy day. "I can almost taste that fresh-caught trout," said Brother, as the road led even higher into the mountain forest. "And I can almost taste those yummy wild berries," said Sister. "And don't forget my terrific wilderness stew," said Papa as he turned onto an even steeper road. "But we didn't bring things for stew," objected Mama. "All we brought are some canned goods." "Of course we didn't," laughed Papa. "I'm talking about my special live-off-the-land survival stew. It's my secret recipe. I make it from bark, leaves, and roots that I find in the woods." "When will we get there?" asked the cubs. "Very soon. I can tell by the smell of that mountain air," said Papa, taking a deep breath. "That's not mountain air," complained Brother, making a face. "That's skunk." Said Papa, wrinkling his nose. "A good time to start taking those pictures," thought Mama. "Pew!" said Papa. "Click!" said the camera. "There's the cabin!" shouted Sister as they rounded a bend. And there it was indeed, a mountain cabin beside a lake, complete with rowboat. Of course, it wasn't quite as they had pictured it from the ad. Crystal Lake looked more like mud soup. The lovely mountain cabin looked more like a tumble-down shack. There was a rowboat, all right, but it was half sunk in the lake. But Papa wasn't the least bit discouraged. He was more excited than ever. "It's perfect," he shouted. "The most perfect live-off-the-land vacation spot I've ever seen." Mama wasn't so sure. She noticed that there were no wires leading into the cabin, which meant there was no electricity. "That's the last thing we need," scoffed Papa. "What you need on a live-off-the-land vacation is plenty of can-do spirit and lots of forest smarts, and I've got enough of those for all of us." He took a cooking pot and a folding chair from the car trunk. "Here," he said, making a seat for Mama. "This is a vacation. You relax while I gather the fixings for my fabulous wilderness stew. And you two tidy up the cabin," he called to the cubs as he headed into the forest with the cooking pot. But Mama didn't expect to do much relaxing on this vacation, and she wasn't surprised to find that the cabin was an even worse mess inside than it was outside. There was an ankle-deep carpet of twigs, branches, and dead leaves on the floor, and it was practically a museum of spider webs, cocoons, and mouse nests. "Time for another picture," thought Mama. Scurry, scurry went the mice. Click went the camera. "What's this?" asked Sister as she cleaned leaves out of the sink. "That's a hand pump for water," answered Mama. "Just what I need." It was Papa, back with his cooking pot full of strange-looking bark, leaves, and roots. "A little water for my stew." He worked the handle. The pump gurgled and squeaked, and after a while began to squirt water. Rusty brown water. But he wasn't discouraged. "Just what I need for my stew," he said cheerfully. "Ready-made gravy." He carried the pot outside where he had prepared a cooking fire. It was very exciting for the cubs, but Mama wasn't so sure. So she made a fire in the fireplace and warmed up a supper of canned beans and dried honeycomb. When Papa cried, "Stew time!" the cubs ran out for a first taste. Mama followed with the camera. "Here's to living off the land," said Papa, holding up a big spoon of the strange-looking stuff. Then he, brother, and sister each took a taste. "Ugh," said Sister. "Blech," said brother. "Patooey," said Papa. "Click," said the camera. Mama Bear's supper of beans and honeycomb proved very tasty. Papa Bear stretched and yawned. "Now early to bed so I can get up with the sun and catch our breakfast." The sun did rise, and it was very beautiful, but Papa snored right through it. The frogs, crickets, and owls had made such a racket during the night that he hadn't fallen asleep until just before the rising sun lit up the sky. Papa began to get a little discouraged when he went out to catch breakfast. The boat sank as soon as he stepped into it, and all he caught was a gloppy mudsucker that made snuffling noises and stared. "Snuffle, snuffle, glop," said the mudsucker. "Click," said the camera. It was Papa's turn to snap the picture when Mama and the cubs tasted the wild berries. The thorns were something fierce, and the berries were so sour, even the birds puckered. Later, there was a perfectly beautiful sunset, but the bear family didn't get to see much of it. They were too busy swatting the swarms of hungry mountain mosquitoes that swooped in from the lake. "Live off the land, you say?" shouted Mama as they ran for the cabin. "With all these thorns and mosquitoes, it's more like the land is living off us." It began to rain just as they reached the cabin. But the roof leaked badly, and pretty soon they had more leaks than they had pots and pans. They spent a miserable night. By morning, they were soaked to their fur, and there was a foot of water in the front stairwell. "Don't worry," said Papa. "The rain can't last forever, and just as soon as I sweep out this water—" But instead of Papa sweeping the water swept Papa out the door, down the muddy slope, and into the muddy, mucky lake. When Mama and the cubs reached him, he looked more like a mud ball than Papa Bear. "Say," he said, looking up at them, "I have a terrific idea. Let's go home." So the bear family loaded the trunk, put the car top up, bundled into the car, and bumped and splashed down the mountain in the driving rain. The rain had stopped and the sun had come out by the time they reached the valley, and their treehouse had never looked so good to them as it did that day. The next day, Mama took the film to the camera store to be developed. When the pictures came back a few days later, the bear family wrote titles on them. They began to chuckle as they passed the pictures around. The chuckles grew to roaring laughter, and soon they were laughing so hard they cried. Papa smells the mountain air. We are greeted upon our arrival. We taste Papa's wilderness stew. Papa catches our breakfast. Our first taste of wild mountain berries. Papa decides it's time to go home. And every so often, through the years, they take out those pictures and have an absolutely wonderful time enjoying the worst vacation the Bear family ever had. The end. What did you think of Too Much Vacation? Those poor bears, they had this beautiful idea in their heads, didn't they? Of a magical trip they were going to have by a pretty clear lake, eating off the land in this quaint cabin, and just about nothing turned out right, did it? Sometimes life goes that way, and what's great about this story is that the Bear families used those moments and they captured them with their camera, and they are able to laugh at it now. They look back and they see all the funny situations that they were in and have a good time in those memories together. So for today's activity, I thought we'd stick with the theme of when things don't quite go the way we planned, we can make something new and still enjoy it. So for us today, what better than to take some lemons and make lemonade? Would you like to go and do that with me now? Okay, let's go. All right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the story of the Berenstain Bears' Too Much Vacation. And I hope that you learned a little lesson like they did. There's an old adage about when life hands you lemons, you should make lemonade. And so that's what we're going to do today. What do I mean by that? I mean, the bears had their best, worst vacation. Nothing went right. It rained. It was sour berries that they tried to eat. The room had a yucky pond next to it. It just wasn't what they thought it was going to be. But they made a lot of fun memories and have laughed about it after because they made the best of the situation. So that just reminded me of taking lemons and making lemonades. So this is very easy to do. You're only going to need a few simple ingredients today. You'll need a measuring cup. You're going to need some lemons. I've got this juicer here, so help me to push my lemons down and get the lemon juice out of here. You're going to want a pitcher to put your lemonade into. Whoops. You'll need some sugar, and you're going to need a saucepan to melt some sugar and water on the stove. So you're going to want an adult's permission and supervision for the first step, but go ahead and gather your materials, and then you'll be ready for step number 1. All right, boys and girls, with the help of a parent or guardian, your first step is going to be taking 1 cup of sugar. So I'm just pouring 1 cup of sugar. One cup of sugar. Oh, your kitty cats might be interested in what you're doing. And 1 cup of water. Pouring it into a small saucepan, and then we're going to heat this with medium-high heat until the sugar dissolves. And we're just going to stir that around and get the sugar to dissolve. You'll know when the sugar's dissolved because it won't be gritty anymore. So this is going to take a little bit for the oven to heat up, the stovetop to heat up, and for our sugar to dissolve. So just be patient and have an adult help supervise this step. You'll know once your sugar water is ready, all the sugar's dissolved, you won't feel any granules at the bottom of your saucepan. You won't see any come stirring up as you whisk around your water. The water will start to look pretty clear again as well, instead of cloudy and white. You might have some steam coming off of your saucepan like I do. That's okay. You just want to make sure that sugar is really, really well dissolved. Once you're sure that that's done and that sugar is very well dissolved in that water, you can turn off your saucepan. And we're going to let this cool for about 10 minutes before we add it to the rest of our mixture. So I'm going to just move it to a cool spot on top of my stovetop and check on it in about 10 minutes. While you are waiting for your sugar water to cool down, you can be working on getting your juice from your lemon. So if you have lemons like I do, we're going to want an adult's supervision to cut these lemons and to squeeze the juice out of it. We want a cup of lemon juice to put into our pitcher. Now, if you don't have a lemon, you can use lemon juice straight from the fridge if you'd like, but I recommend using fresh squeezed juice. And I happen to have this here that's going to help me squish and turn that lemon on top of this piece. See those grates in there? So the juice can come out, but all the pulp and seeds will stay in this tray. And it will go right into this, which has a measuring cup. And on here, it can measure up to 1/3 cup. And I need 1 full cup, so I have to fill this 3 times. So I'm going to start with 1 lemon and see how we go. So again, with help from an adult, cut your lemon in half. You're going to put this right on top of here if you have this. If you don't have this, you can squeeze your lemon with your hand. You can just squeeze it just like this and get juice. That will work. This will just help get a lot of juice quickly. Makes it a little bit easier. All right, that lemon's pretty emptied out. You see that? I'm going to use the other half. Now, if you're using a juicer like I am, and your tray starts to get full, see my tray starting to get full from the pulp and it's keeping the juice from going into my measuring cup, you can empty the tray out in between juicing the lemon. 2 halves or 1 lemon. And I have made 1/3 cup of juice. So that's good to know that 1 lemon will give me 1/3 cup. And I need a whole cup, which means 3 of these. So 3 lemons should be able to make lemonade. I'm just going to pour that 1/3 cup, or 1/3 cup, excuse me, 1/3 cup of lemon juice right into here. So I'm going to start with my 2nd lemon. Again. Now I have my last 1/3, pouring that right into my pitcher. Now I have 1 cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And the next step, we're going to go ahead and add 5 cups of cold water. And by the time we've finished that, we should be ready to add our 1 cup of water and sugar that has been dissolved. I have my sugar water from my saucepan. If you're very careful, you can pour it into a glass, nice big glass, like so. And then we're just going to pour that right in. We're going to stir it up. And guess what, boys and girls? You have just made your very own homemade fresh squeezed lemonade. That's all there is to it. It's very easy to do. If you'd like for a little added extra yum, you can cut an extra lemon if you have one. Cut some slices. You can put those right into your lemonade. So I'm just going to put a couple of lemon slices in there to give it more lemon flavor. And that's it. Our very own homemade lemonade. Very easy to do and a lot of fun to make, and hopefully it'll be delicious. All right, we're out of time for today. You ready to head back to my magic lamp and say goodbye to Cosette? Me too. Let's go. Did you see any interesting birds on our vacation trip, Cosette? I did too. I think I really enjoy that. I love watching the birds. Welcome back to the Magic Lamp, boys and girls. Did you enjoy the story about the bears' too much vacation? Is there really such a thing as too much vacation? It was unfortunate that all their planning and all the things they look forward to kind of got messed up, didn't it? But you know what? They made the best of it. And they took those wonderful photos and made those wonderful memories, and they're still laughing about it now. I hope that when life hands you lemons, you'll remember to make some lemonade, just like we did today. Thank you for joining Cosette and our magic lamp again today. We hope you'll come back and see us again soon. And until you do, take good care of yourselves, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.